So I would say to the people that say that and they say, "Oh, I'm not a morning person. I'm just not that disciplined." I'm just going to call you out and say that's BS because
Hmm.
that is the wrong belief system that you have. If do you have any faith in God? If he can part the sea, if he can rise from the dead, if he can help David kill Goliath, like name it, tons of faith stories in the Bible, and you can't wake up a little earlier, you can't quit that porn addiction or that alcohol, struggle. That is just garbage.
Welcome to the Valiant Forge podcast, where we help men overcome life's battles, show up better in the world, and become a valiant warrior for God. This is a place where we share practical strategies that will equip you on life's journey to help you become the man God has called you to be. Are you ready to overcome your doubt and fulfill your purpose just like Gideon? If so, let's go.
Welcome to the Valiant Forge podcast, where we encourage men to get rooted in the Word of God, grow deeper in their faith, and step into the men that God has called them to be. Today I'm going to be sharing a conversation I had with Jason Heinritz. I've been looking forward to sharing this one. His story isn't just inspiring, it's convicting. We talk about what it means to wake up spiritually, to stop building our own kingdoms and start living out our lives like true Jesus people. Jason shares his journey of how he struggled with addiction, identity, and then the moment when God said enough and everything turned around. So if you ever felt distracted, discouraged, spiritually asleep, this episode is for you. And there is an interesting thing in this episode if you pay attention to the very end. Jason has something called the 40 Forge Challenge or Forge 40. I don't remember the name exactly, but somewhere along those lines. And I accepted that challenge. He wasn't calling me out on that challenge. I just kind of said, you know what? I'm going to do this challenge. So starting in September, this is why I'm posting this today. Starting in September, I'm going to be going through this challenge. And I'm going to be sharing things along on my journey. Now, I'm going to be sharing this on another YouTube channel I have under my name, Mark Osborne, and I don't want to cloudy up or mess up the podcast feed too much with random stuff. So I will be sharing this on another channel, which I will link below. And I'm actually going to start using that channel as like a vlogging channel. I'll be doing more at the end of August because right now on the podcast channel, I am doing devotionals throughout the book of Proverbs, and that's almost over. When that's over, I'll be starting to do more vlogging type stuff on my main channel, which is called Mark Osborne, under my main name. We're going to see how it all goes. Anyways, as always, if you like this episode, please share, and I'm going to have links in the show notes for all of Jason's stuff. He has a great challenge. He has a great book called Awaken the Warrior Within. I believe that's the title, but I'm going to link it all below. And please, I would recommend that you go and check some of this out. And if you're looking to level up in your life, I would recommend that you join one of these challenges. And if you do, let me know and let me know how it's going. I would love to hear about it. Without further ado, here is my conversation with Jason Heinritz. Jason, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
I'm great, Mark. Thanks for having me.
What's the weather like in Green Bay right now?
Green Bay, it's actually warm. It's nice, a little humid, a little rainy this morning, but now looking forward to the ice cold coming up in a few months.
Oh yeah, we're not that far apart. We're
Right.
just one state apart, so
Yeah.
I understand the cold. But we won't talk about football because
We will
that could be a
not.
touchy subject.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you grow up in Green Bay?
I grew up in Milwaukee and then
Oh,
moved up
okay.
to the Green Bay area for work about 15 years ago. So I'm a diehard Packer fan for sure. But yeah, I'm a Wisconsin born and raised kind of guy.
Yeah. A lot of people on my podcast don't know this, but I lived in South Milwaukee for
Mm.
3 years in the early 90s, right
Mm.
after Brett Favre won the first Super Bowl for the
Okay.
Packers. And I moved to Wisconsin. There's Green Bay flags everywhere. I was
Yep.
like, oh God, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah. So we didn't convert you? That wasn't enough?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I got to admit, though, Green Bay has always been better than the Bears, but
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping that eventually
Hey,
that's going to change.
yeah, there could be a season.
Yeah, a season. So I'm looking forward to people hearing about who you are and what you do. So if you could give us just a quick backstory of how
Mhm.
you came to know the Lord and what brought you to the place you're at right now.
Sure. So, kind of sum it up, I was born and raised in Milwaukee, like I mentioned, raised by great Christian parents. I found, well, I heard about God kind of when I was 6. I was at home sick. My mom and I were watching Cops, and I was wondering, Mom, why are these people doing all these bad things? And she's like, well, honey, they aren't Christians. Like, well, what's that? So then we did a little prayer right there. So at 6, I'd say I accepted Christ, and then it was more of my parents' faith where I just went along with it. I believed in it, but I didn't make it personal or my own. But I definitely was a vocal leader in high school and in middle school about being a Christian. And yeah, so did that. Had a great experience in high school, and then graduated and went one foot in the world, one foot out in college. For sure, I found a direct sales company where I'm still at now with Cutco Cutlery, and so I've been doing that for 21 years. And I started seeing this excitement for my own accolades, my own building my own kingdom, as I talk about. And I saw it in sports a little bit, but I really felt it in this company with all the awards and success and all that. And so I was bullied in middle school. I didn't feel like I was enough, and the praise and accolades and success gave me worth. And it was not a great point to be at, but definitely struggled with that in my 20s. Also, I was chasing building my own kingdom in my 20s, doing a lot of partying, a lot of just pursuing the pleasures and the instant gratification. And God was still there, but I would usually go on Sundays to church, and that was it. I was a Sunday Christian. I was more of a spectator. I wasn't really, on the field playing. And then really to sum up, a big moment in my life was I was dating a non-Christian. I was living with 3 non-Christian roommates. Talk about a recipe for disaster, and then bringing me down. They were great people, just had different pursuits. So
Right.
actually ended up getting engaged to this girl. And then it got to be 2 months before the wedding, and I called it off, Mark. I was like, this
Wow.
can't happen. God, thankfully, thank God, he shared, shine the light of what the situation was. And I was just realizing, man, she's pretending to be kind of a Jesus person for me, and I'm kind of pretending to not be as much of a Jesus person for her. And as it got real, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not going to work. So I told her, hey, we got to call this off. I'm not saying no to you forever, but I'd rather delay a wedding than call off a marriage. And
Yeah.
so that was a big wake up call. I realized, holy cow, it was so little by little, the devil just like brought me back to being, of the world. And then that was a big wake up call, fall of 2012. So called it off, kind of cleansed myself from these friends, dove back into church, read the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, which helped with some morning routines. Went to a Tony Robbins event, which kind of enlightened me, woke me up a little bit too. So that next year was all about diving back in. But it finally became like my faith then. It finally became more of me, but I was still struggling with pursuing my kingdom while saying I was a Christian, saying Jesus was my priority, but really I wasn't living it out. Work and the idol of work and the idol of more and the idol of success was what I was worshiping. And then just about 4 or 5 years ago, as we were talking before we started here, there's another awakening where I dove back in and kind of cleansed myself and actually made God a priority. And there's been so many cool things here where God has been in the move of my wife and I taking over our young adults ministry at church, me leading a guys life group with Wake Up Jesus Guys, which is how the book and everything was kind of born from. And and now we're fully just open, trusting God. He's fully number one. And it's great. I'm married now, two boys, 3 and 5 years old. We live in Green Bay currently. And I'd say that's how we got here.
Wow. So you said that there was another awakening and another awakening.
Yeah.
So what were those awakening moments?
Yeah.
More specifically.
Sure. The one was when I almost got married to non-Christians. I was so blinded by the sex, the pleasures, the fun, and like the devil almost got me. And that would have been, that was one big awakening.
I
And
guess my
then,
question is, what sparked that? Like,
yeah,
what made you realize, like, man, I'm heading down a
yeah,
dark path?
yeah, it was my parents and the marriage counselors saying, or pre-marriage counselors just going like, is this what you want? Like if she doesn't
Mm.
change and your life doesn't change, is this what you want? I kept hoping and praying that things would change. But I mean, they said, hey, if she doesn't change, would you marry her? I said, hell no, definitely not.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
so that was a big like, oh my gosh, what's happening? I kept hoping for change and hoping for things to be better. But the reality was, I was not living in my dream scenario, and I was just coasting, and I wasn't truly. I said one thing, but lived another way. So that
Yeah.
was the
I've
first one.
noticed there's moments, I call them God, God nudges.
Yep. Oh
There's
yeah.
moments where you're going through your life and you're just kind of going through the motions. You feel like you're doing the right thing.
Yep.
And then God will just kind of give you a little nudge like, hey,
Yep.
this is not the right path. So that's why I was asking, like, what
Yeah.
actually caused that? So
Sure.
God used your marriage counselors and your parents
Yep.
and your
Yep.
family for all that. So,
Yep.
for me, 5 years ago, I was in a place of indecision. Like,
Hmm.
how do I move forward?
Hmm.
And I haven't talked much about this on the podcast, but I had two paths in front of me. So I did the whole self-development thing
Hmm.
5 years prior to that. So 10 years ago, I got into self-development and all that. And then I took it the wrong way, kind of like you. I
Hmm.
was building my own kingdom. I was
Hmm.
like, oh, but I had God I say it was at the center, but really he was kind of behind me, which
Yeah.
is the wrong place to put God. And then I had that path like, do I continue down this path or do I go to the next path? And the reason I'm bringing that up, this is
Hmm.
not about me, but about you, because we've both been in this same place.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked, what were those
Yeah.
moments that led you to the decisions you were making?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And there are two more. So for me, so also with building my own kingdom, the stress, the worry, the just, wanting to turn things off. I was most nights, Mark, having a couple drinks or having half a gummy to relax and chill. And so I wasn't relying on God. And so that was like a decade I was doing that 5 or 6 nights a week, 2 or 3 drinks, half a weed gummy. I wasn't getting blazed up. I wasn't getting drunk or anything, but it was enough to like numb myself to be able to turn off work and turn off, the self-development. And I could build my own kingdom this way. And so that was a rude awakening when through marriage counseling, as well as my wife waking me up of what are you doing? And then a friend from church who's gone through addiction in the past and overcome it. And he's a great resource in our church for people struggling with this. He challenged me to go home and throw everything away. Our marriage counselor said, hey, I know you say it's not a big deal and it's not affecting you, but these are addictive tendencies. And when I was hiding it from my wife and I was sneaking stuff and I was starting to think about it's 4 o'clock, it's almost end of my work day. When can I
mm,
open up that beer? So that was a big rude awakening going, wow, again, little by little, the little bit of substances coming in and justifying, I'm just relaxing. There's not a big deal. But when it became, a trigger for me to like turn off work and then I said as being present with my family because I wasn't thinking about work, but really I was just kind of numb. And so that was a big awakening. That was about 3 or 4 years ago. And then just like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I got rebaptized. So being involved in the church,
wow.
being a leader in the church, I'd been nudged by a mentor in the church as well to start this men's life group. And I just felt like, man, I'm really involved in the church. But I haven't been baptized since I was in middle school. That was really more for my parents and my family. I knew what I was doing, but it wasn't really, hey, everyone, I love Jesus. He is the center of my life, all that. And so that was a nudge too. I actually told my wife that, hey, next time they do baptisms, I'm going to do it. And then that week at worship night, I didn't know they were doing baptisms. And I just didn't realize it. And they said, all right, so anyone else gets baptized, let's go. And I'm like, all right, I guess it's time. And handed her my phone and my keys and said, I'm taking a plunge. So that was a big moment too, to switch. And then from there, just about 2 years ago, Mark, was all about pursuing him and not my own accolades and success. That's been another big nudge and awakening. And there's been a lot of cool things that's happened since then that I'm sure we will get into.
Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of the theme that I wanted to go with today, because you wrote a book. I don't know if the title is Awaken the Warrior Within, or
It's
that's
Wake
a
Up Jesus
subtitle?
People. Yeah, Wake Up Jesus People. The subtitle is Life-Giving Disciplines to Awaken the Warrior Within.
So why do you say Jesus people instead of Christians? Is it just
Yeah,
to kind of spark some more?
it's for many reasons. Well, I feel, based on who clips this or what they say, hope I do justice. So I just feel like Christians is just a general title, and there's a big version of, there's many variations of Christians. And so some are, we're all doing our best. We're all sinners. And like you think about, people just follow the rules and regulations. People that are sometimes the Pharisee type people of follow the rules and regulations, but they're empty inside. Or they're Sunday Christians or even Creasters. They go on Christmas and Easter, they call themselves a Christian. But when you bring up the word Jesus, you talk about, I'm a Jesus follower. There's so much love there. There's so much direction from Jesus as a leader. When you read the Bible, it's just, I am an all-out Jesus person, where I am, we can all agree on Jesus, right? So whatever denomination you are, whatever little variances you believe in, how about we just focus on the 80 to 90% we can all believe in as Jesus followers, and not nitpick about this denomination or what you do or who you're voting for. Like, let's just follow Jesus, the King of the universe, instead of, what denomination you are. Oh, you're a Christian. I just feel like a Jesus person is a little bit better feel to it. And also our church calls us Jesus people. That we're all on a Jesus journey. We're all working towards being more like him and less like us on a daily basis. So that's why I say Jesus people.
I love that. So what does being a spiritual warrior look like?
Yeah, well, one, it means armoring up. It looks like armoring up every day. So in a morning routine, I call the sacred start, but it's getting yourself ready for battle. There's a passage right in the Bible about the armor of God, but like, we are in a real battle, and we need to wake up, because there's spiritual warfare. There are a lot of temptations. There's a lot of evil that's trying to get us and our soul and win us over. And so we need to be ready. Like, if you go into the day knowing I'm in a battle, it's going to be a different mentality. And if you don't realize that, and you're going to battle every day without putting on your armor, which is like starting off your day with God, praying, journaling, Bible reading, listening to worship music, these things, being around a strong Jesus community, it's going to help level you up, strengthen you, help you have stronger armor for when the enemy attacks. It's not if, it's when he attacks, you are more prepared. And a lot of guys, who might be listening here, like, going to the military, going to UFC fights, like being ready for the fight. I think too many of us Jesus people, we're sleepwalking. We're zombies, just going, all right, everything's okay, and I'm gonna do my best. I might pray here and there, but I'm not truly leveling up and pursuing a battle-ready version of myself. So when the enemy attacks, it's very easy to fall and very easy to take a step back and be more of a spectator, as opposed to a participant in this Jesus journey.
So I've had people say to me, like, you're a super disciplined guy, this is easy for you, but they haven't seen the journey that I was on before I became, and I still got a long way to go. I'm not as disciplined as I'd like to be. I'm assuming you were building your kingdom for a while. You were a hard worker, doing well in your company. So you're a little bit of an A-type personality. You probably already kind of had some disciplines in place. Is that correct?
Yes, but it was all a choice. I mean, every day I still wake up, Mark, going, Man, it's 5 a.m. I like to sleep in. Or every day I'm thinking, you know what, I'd rather scroll on social media than pursue Jesus, right? Or be a good husband or father. It's very easy to get sucked into things. Most days I don't feel like working out. Most days, I've just conditioned myself, and I've just done it so long where it's just part of my identity. So yes, in the beginning, it was a little tougher, but there's always something in me that wanted to be the best I could be. So whether it was in sports, not really school, but in sports and business, and now in a Jesus journey, it's like, well, why wouldn't I want to do my best and just make that choice every day to get better? And then as you do it, it gets a little easier, but it's still, you still aren't bulletproof.
Yeah. So, what kind of lies do you think men are deceiving themselves with today that keeps them from awakening into spiritual warrior?
Yeah, I think they're comfortably, I don't know if I want to say miserable. I'd say that they feel that there's no urgency. They think they always have tomorrow. So I think it's that there's no urgency, and they're like, oh, well, I'll start getting fit tomorrow. I'll start reading my Bible tomorrow. I'll cut that bad habit tomorrow. I'll dive more in my Jesus journey tomorrow. I think they just don't realize, like, hey, how long have you been saying that? And
Right.
where are you at right now? Are you truly happy and fulfilled and in alignment with Jesus, or are you just kind of coasting? So I feel like there isn't that urgency or that rude awakening that has forced them to make that change, right? Some people, they get in their health, right? They need that heart attack
Mm-hmm.
to have that rude awakening, go, holy crap, I need to get fit. I'm 100 pounds overweight. So I think there hasn't been that rude awakening, or they feel like there's no urgency. I'll do it another day.
Yeah. So, you said you haven't really done any research on me. It's very interesting that you said that because this is what I've been trying to teach men for the last 2 years now, that I've been on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 48, my 48th birthday is when I started a health journey, but so that was in May. December before that, so I don't remember the year, but I was 47 in December. I had a mild heart attack, and I changed my diet because January came. It's like, okay, time to change the diet. I changed my diet, started eating better, but I didn't start exercising at all. In January of that year, I was 205 pounds. I'm 5'3". So I was like, I'm over 200 and I'm short and I don't have muscle on me. So this is a problem, you know. But then that May, that's when God gave me that nudge, that the day of my birthday. It's like I lost my purpose. I don't know what to do next. And that whole, what you said there, that was my God nudge, my first God nudge 10 years ago, which led me on the wrong path first. But then he brought me back. How do we take the men today who haven't had that God nudge to how do we get them to wake up before God has to nudge them?
Yeah. I think there's just awareness. And again, I think if, so the title of my book is Wake Up Jesus People. There's two meanings. It's, hey, wake up early, spend time with Jesus right away, get yourself right in a 1 to 2 hour sacred start, getting your day right, wake up, but also wake up to your faith, wake up to life, stop sleepwalking, stop being a zombie. And so I feel like the more men can lead by example, and the more they can just share with others, with discipleship, right? Jesus had his 72 he sent out and his 12 disciples and his 3 inner circle. Like he was discipling and modeling, and people wanted to be like that. And so the more I think we can live out loud, and the more we can be a light for others, for men to wake up, just people in general. When you see someone who's really happy, really blessed, they're diving into their Jesus journey, they're doing well at work, doing well at life, like that's going to help them realize, I want that. And that's where this whole concept of waking up and the routines of being healthy, mentally, physically, and spiritually is, for me, I was a big fitness guy. I am a big fitness guy. I did football and track in college for a couple of years. And I'd see Christians who would be really overweight. No judgment, but if someone's going to win me over, I'm going to respect and listen to someone who's really disciplined and really fit, Because if they don't have that in their life, I think, well, are they undisciplined in their Jesus journey as well?
Yep.
So it kind of all works together. How you do some things is how you do most things. And so I really believe, Mark, the more we can pursue Jesus and pursue being our best selves in all areas, which is what God wants us to be happy and fulfilled and be a light for his people, the more people are going to ask questions, the more they're going to see that. So if we become who we surround ourselves with, and there's a bunch of dormant zombie-like Christians, well, how can we wake them up by shining that light of all these other people around them living this happy life? Because I believe most people, if they don't have Jesus number one, they aren't fulfilled and they're stressed and they're constant, they're struggling with a lot of things. So I think, Mark, the more we can be the example and be Jesus with skin on, the more people are going to notice that and start asking questions and wanting that as well.
I love that frame, Jesus with skin on, because we're supposed to be more like Jesus. So that's all. I've never heard that before. That's very cool. So is there a scripture or a moment in prayer or a passage that kind of helped you reframe your identity as a man of God?
My life verse right now is Matthew 6:33. So seek him above all else, live righteously, and all these things will be added unto you. So the more I can really pursue him and his kingdom, everything else is going to work out. Everything else is going to be fine. So, I'd say based on the year and based on the situation, there's been different verses, whether it's Philippians 4:13, right, or Galatians 6:9. Yep. It's just, there's a lot of good verses there's so many. And then in the book too, I have like 100 affirmations backed up by scripture as well that people can go through and look at that will give them that mindset. So I even think for guys, there's people sometimes they just need that war cry, right? Or that verse or that statement to really get them going. So that's what I would say.
So before I want to get into your iron, your forged, 40 forged. Yep. Before we do, because I want to give men some practical advice here. What role does Sabbath play in a program like that? Because you base this off of 75 Hard. A lot of people that are listening probably don't know what that is, but it's an extreme 75-day program. And from what I remember of it, there are no days of rest. I may be wrong there, but you can tell me.
Yeah. So Sabbath. Yeah. Sabbath there's a whole journal in my book about Sabbath. So God made routines and he modeled that for us. And it's not for him. And again, it's not this legalistic, you have to do this. This is why this is beneficial for you. Keep the Sabbath, make it holy, all of that. And if we go all the time, we are going to get burnt out. And so he a lot of times especially high achieving guys, we pursue, we push, and all of a sudden our kids are 10 years old or 20 years old. All of a sudden our relationship with their wife is not too great. Hey, we got a couple more promotions, but in promotions at work, but none in the home, right? It's like I think it's important that we are resting and that we're keeping it holy. And again, I struggled with this up until just a couple years ago, and I had to set boundaries. Being in direct sales, there's always things to do. There's always some recruit, always some sale to make. And it really was a struggle for a long time in my life until, again, just a couple years ago, getting rebaptized, setting the boundaries of, hey, I might lose out on some business. I also need to develop some people to handle some different roles, but I'm only working from 8:30 till 4:30, Monday through Friday. That's it. And I'm spending time with the family on Saturday and Sunday. I'm doing Jesus stuff all day, Sunday church and that. But yeah, Sabbath is huge. And really the sacred start in the morning is like a daily Sabbath to start your day off with rest. And the Sabbath is huge. And if we can work from rest, I think a lot of people think the Sabbath is like, yes, seventh day he rested, right? And it's the end of the week. But if you can switch your mindset, Mark, from, hey, I start from rest. So my week starts on Sunday. What if we live the whole week knowing how I start my day on Sunday is actually the start to the week. It's going to carry over into rest. Same thing with, I talk about the necessary night. in the book, which is about having an evening routine, an evening alarm, and getting to bed at a good time. And what if you just like the Hebrews, right? It was the night starts, the day starts the evening before. Their Sabbath was sundown. That's on that day to the next day, sundown. And so if we really think about, our day doesn't start when we wake up, it starts the night before with rest, with sleep. It's a different mentality. Not, I'm so drained from the week and from the day, I need some sleep. No, I'm starting from that. So rest, whether it's just Sabbath or it's, on a daily basis, that's huge. That's how God created us. We're not Energizer bunnies just meant to go, go. Even in ministry, I think a lot of preachers, a lot of pastors burn themselves out because they're so trying to save all the sheep that they forget even for themselves to practice that. So,
yeah. So, let's get into the 40 challenge now.
Yeah.
Could you just give me like a 1-day version of it?
Yep, for sure. So I have 2 versions of it. So a lot of you have probably heard of Andy Frisella and 75 Hard, but it's basically, this is the Jesus version of it. And, the 75 Hard was 75 days in a row, abstaining from alcohol, working out twice a week or twice a day. One has to be outside. There's reading 10 pages a day. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's pretty intense. And if you miss one day, you're done. You have to start over. I thought if 1 million people have gone through this thing and Jesus isn't incorporated, what can we do to wake up some Jesus people by doing this? So I have 40 Forge Light and 40 Forge Hard. So of course, being forged, right? Being sanctified, being, being put in the fire, molded, and then put in the fire again, molded. And it's a work in progress to make this, to forge yourself. The reason why it's 40 days, Mark, is because 40 days is biblical. And whether you think about, I don't like habits. I haven't done all the studies. I don't know if is it 21 days? Is it 66 days? Like, what is it to form a habit? Well, I'm going to stick with the Bible and go biblical. 40 days is important because it's a time of transition. And it's all over the Bible, dozens and dozens of examples, whether it's Moses and Mount Sinai, 40 days on there until you receive the 10 commandments. Israel wandering around in the desert for 40 years. 40 years. Right? 40 days of the flood. Jesus being tempted in the wilderness after he got baptized. Goliath's taunt to the Israelites before David came and knocked him out. Jesus post-resurrection on this earth for 40 days before he ascended to heaven. So each instance of 40 often marked a time of testing, preparation, or transition where God prepared his people for a new stage of his plan. So 40 days I'm going to stick with. And at the end of this discipleship journey, and in my discipleship group with these Wake Up Jesus guys group I started a few years ago, and I was always giving them this 40-day faith fast, I called it at the end. And so I cleaned it up, got a logo, made it cooler. So 40 Forge is the name of it. And the point of this, before I dive into the specifics, Mark, is that it is a transformation, and it is going to suck at first. It is going to be really tough, but the goal is at the end of the 40 days, it becomes more who you are, and it's not as hard to do this on a daily basis. There's 4 stages in the 40 days. So first 10 days are unbearable. You hate it. You don't want to do it. It is the last thing you want to do every day. Days 11 through 20 is the uncomfortable phase. Like you can do it, but it's still uncomfortable. Days 21 through 30 where it's bearable. And this is where most people stop, the 21 to 30 days. And then they're like, okay, it's bearable. And then they easily can drop off. They miss one day and they're done. But the unstoppable phase is from days 31 to 40. So all that being said, that leads up to the 40 Forge challenge. So I'll share the light version first, and then just share with you some of the add-ons to the hard. My goal is, like, if I can help wake up every Jesus person, at least do the 40 Forge light, and then those high achievers who want to really challenge themselves can do 40 Forge hard, great. But the 40 Forge light is starting your day off in the morning with Jesus, 60 minutes in the morning. And that includes journaling. Okay, ideally it's with the Wake Up Jesus People journal. All right, it's praying daily. It is a Devo daily, and it is exercising daily. So that is the 60-minute morning start, the sacred start that's included in there, as well as picking some kind of diet, some kind of challenge there with your health, and then abstaining from alcohol, abstaining from substances, and abstaining from porn. So 3 things that really catch a lot of guys, and that that Satan has them. He has his grip on them through there. So that's 40 Forge Light. 40 Forge Hard is very similar, just more advanced, where the morning sacred start is 90 minutes because it includes now 40 minutes of exercise at least. It includes reading at least 10 pages of the Bible daily, and then praying and journaling as well. And then again, no alcohol, substances, or porn. The diet is the Daniel fast because it's biblical. Daniel fast plus protein. You got to get that protein in. And then no social media scrolling is added. And then drinking a gallon of water a day is added as well. And then worship music only. So that's the 40 Forge Hard.
So have you had people come through it, the hard, successfully?
We've had 2. Yep.
That's
I've
awesome.
had, so I do this every 2 months, and I do a new round. So the other great thing is like 75 hard, it's just, okay, do it whenever. And yeah, there's some support groups, but it's a designated, 40-day time, 6 times a year to join with other people, join our chat, join and there's a lot of resources as well. And we're giving guidance throughout the whole time, but it is a start where you can just join and do it with other people. Yeah. So
do you have a community where people can say, hey, I'm challenged, I'm struggling in this area?
Yeah, I'm working on I was just open-handed, Mark. I'm just going with God's flow here and seeing. Right. Yeah, eventually it'd be great to have a Facebook community and all that. Right now we just have a WhatsApp chat. But what I was getting to is throughout the 4 rounds or so we've done so far, I have 60-ish people that have gone through it so far, and only 2 have completed the 40 Forge Hard. There's been a lot who've attempted it, and there's been a lot who are like, this is great, but that's a lot for me. I'm just going to start with the 40 Forge Light. But there has been where there's been people that have gone through the first round of 40 Forge Light, and then the second time they'll go through 40 Forge Hard, which really is my goal. Is like, hey, let's do a warm up with the light, and then a few weeks later, let's get you into the next round and go to 40 Forge Hard.
So do you have a testimony of one of the 2 guys who have gone through it?
For sure. And it's actually on my Instagram, Wake Up Jesus People Instagram. I have dozens of testimonials, but it's been guys and girls alike, all ages from 18 to 60 plus have gone through it. Probably 2/3 guys have gone through it, and a third ladies. But it's been cool to see, and it's different per person. So some people, they're great Jesus people, but they're like, man, I really need to get this, working out is giving me so much confidence, so much more energy as well. And for some people, they really were struggling with porn, alcohol, or some kind of substance. So cutting that out was huge for them. There's been some people who were just in a time where they knew they were going into a season of God up-leveling them. So this was like a really good on-ramp to really get them going into that next chapter. And really, a lot of people, it's been so cool to hear them say, I'd never realized what I was missing because I was just going through life. I was just coasting, and actually saying God's a priority and following through has been a big notice that I've heard feedback from people is like, wow, I didn't realize how many days I would skip reading the Bible, or how many days I didn't start with Jesus, or I didn't rely on him, but the sacred start in the morning got me going and made it more of a priority.
That's awesome. So it's probably, I think it's been about a year now. I started a YouTube channel. I started a podcast 2 years ago. Okay. Started YouTube a year ago. I have a thing with social media. I'm mostly off of it. YouTube is pretty much the only social media I have right now. But when I started the YouTube channel, I was like, okay, I need to grow it. And I told you before we recorded, I came up with a similar program for guys in my church. And when I started YouTube, there were 31 days. I think it was July. I started July 30th, or June 30th, and then July. I went through the program that I created called 31 Iron Forge 31 days.
Mhm.
31 days based off of the 31 chapters in Proverbs, plus there's 31 days in a month. That was part of it.
Mhm.
I asked people to join me. No one joined me. I went through it myself. And I already, because for the past 5 years, I've been sort of disciplined, but I still struggle with it.
Mhm.
Even going through it myself, again, I struggled. So I'm asking you, have you gone through it? And do you continue to go through it? Or how does that work for you? What happens
Yeah.
after you're done?
Yeah. So couple answers there. Yes, this is my life. I
Hmm.
follow this pretty close. It depends on the season if I'm really going through it. I'm not legalistic about it, right? But I mean, the 44 chart pretty much, I struggle with social media scrolling. That's my thing right now. So I get on streaks. I have the Habit Share app and I teach everyone in the 44 to start a streak. So then you have streaks of like, hey, 5 days in a row, 10 days in a row, 30 days in a row. And you don't want to break that streak. So I have some streaks that are in the hundreds, even over 1,000, where I'm like, I am not breaking this streak.
That's
I'm
awesome.
even so disciplined on it where I mark it. So even like this morning, I have things marked already, the Habit Share. It's 8:46 a.m. Saturday when we were recording this. And it's already like, hey, I already know I'm already doing this. Like I have already decided today, this is going to be day 622 of that streak. So it for sure, a lot of it is my life, but I struggle with social media, scrolling. I would say I struggle with so that's really it as of now. But there are for sure previous seasons of my life where I struggled with some of
Yeah.
the other things. But the goal is your other question of what do they do after this? The goal is that this becomes their identity. This becomes their
Hmm.
life. They are awakened and realizing this feels good. I don't need this program. I mean, if they want to sign up again, great, all the power to them. They want that community and that sport, awesome. But I don't need this program because this is who I'm becoming. This is my identity now, and I don't need to be struggling with some of those holdbacks. I don't. I can wake up early and get my workout in and my Jesus time in. So the goal is that they are changed, and it is a new identity. However, I would say most people that go through the program, they keep one or two habits still that they have a streak. So it's been cool to see guys that have told me like I have a year streak at this now, or I hit 100 days of this, or I'm these many days on no whatever they're struggling with. So that's been cool to see, but I have not seen yet anyone that's gone through the program actually stick to the whole thing yet without the community. I have people sign up for 2 or 3 rounds of the group, and that's like a reset and helpful. But man, it's hard. It's
Yeah,
hard to stick to it. But at me, at this point, it's not a question of if I'm going to do it. It's just part of who I am now.
yeah. That's and I love how you say it becomes who you are,
Yeah,
because most of us will say, "Oh, I'm just not that guy. I'm not a
yeah,
morning
yeah.
person. I'm a night owl or whatever." We wrap our identity around
Mm-hmm.
those things. But Jesus, the Jesus people, the people who follow Jesus, we're supposed to be transformed by the
Yep.
renewing of our mind. And discipline is what helps us change our mind. And the,
Mm-hmm.
the root word of discipline is disciple. We're
Yep.
supposed to be disciples of Christ. So we
Yep.
need discipline in our life. That's why I wanted to have you on.
Yeah.
I think your program's awesome. And I'm going to ask you one final question that I ask every man that comes on the
Yep.
podcast, and then I want you to share.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I also say something else about that?
Sure.
Yeah. So I would say to the people that say that and they say, "Oh, I'm not a morning person. I'm just not that disciplined." I'm just going to call you out and say that's BS because
Hmm.
that is the wrong belief system that you have. If do you have any faith in God? If he can part the sea, if he can rise from the dead, if he can help David kill Goliath, like name it, tons of faith stories in the Bible, and you can't wake up a little earlier, you can't quit that porn addiction or that alcohol, struggle. That is just garbage. So that's where I get up, I'm kind of like on this edge where I'm not like a pastor. So I can't be, I can have a little rough edges, I think a little bit, but I also am in the business world of calling people out and encouraging
Right.
them. And when I see someone slacking, when I see them having their own excuses hold them back, it's like, what are you doing? This is not the life God meant for you. You were meant for so much more. So stop letting that belief system stop you from being who God has made you to be. You can be a great husband. You can be a great father. You can be super fit and healthy. You can read the Bible every day. You can pray every day. It's just a choice. So I just want to handle that because I hear that all the time. It's all a choice.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. This is why this is called the Valiant Forge. Iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
Your iron gets hammered.
Yes.
Gets heated up and then hammered, and then it changes. So sometimes you have to be, I understand the pastor has to be kind of nice and gentle sometimes, but sometimes us men need a hard challenge and a hard talking to. So I want you to share your community and everything, but before we do that, there's a question I ask every man that comes on the podcast, and you've answered it numerous times throughout this, but I do want to ask you, in 1 Samuel 21, I believe it is, David was hiding from Saul because Saul was chasing him, and David wasn't like necessarily being a coward. He was respecting the king because he had opportunities to kill Saul at that time, but he was hiding in the cave of Adullam. The men in the kingdom were disgruntled with everything that was going on. Saul wasn't running the kingdom and doing the things that he's supposed to do, so they came to David in the cave of Adullam, some 300 and something men. They were disgruntled, discouraged, discontented. David said something to them in that cave. The Bible doesn't exactly say what he said to them. But later, these men became David's mighty men. We're talking about awakening the warrior within. These men became the warriors. Some of these men, 3 of these men, defeated a bunch of the Philistine army just to get a cup of water for David. You know, there were only 3 of them.
Right.
So modern day, you have a bunch of men standing in front of you, discontented, disgruntled, discouraged, don't know what to do next with their life. You're a leader. What would you say to them?
Yeah. I would say if you keep on this path, where is it going to lead? You're at where you're at right now. And if you keep going, we're never staying the same. We're always getting better or worse. So based on every area in your life, do you want to keep going down this path? Where is it going to lead for you as a husband? Where is it going to lead to you as a father? Where is it going to lead to you and your health, you and your satisfaction, you and your fulfillment? So if you don't choose to wake up now and you don't choose to be better and get just a little bit adjustment to get better every day, think of how great we can be. Think of how great you can be in God's kingdom. What a warrior you can be for him. And if you're worried about all the stuff of the 100 years we have on life, wait until eternity. Have an eternal perspective and know that we are citizens of heaven. We are visiting earth right now. We only have 100 years here. And who knows, he could come back real soon based on all the signs. It's time to wake up because your family needs it. Your work people need it. Your community needs it. God has you there for a reason, planted to be that light and that hope for everyone else. So are you going to be the reason someone else is in heaven? Are you going to be the reason your family follows you and they're in heaven too? And we're all worshiping. We're all celebrating the Almighty God together for eternity. Or is your cowardness and your wimpiness and your laziness going to have people miss out on that? So the choice is yours. It's time to armor up and get ready for battle because it's urgent.
Amen. I love that call out. And the message that kind of changed my journey 6 or 7 years ago now was, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yep.
I literally heard a pastor preach this, and it's the whole message never left me. And people were like, well, I'm good. I'm just floating through life. Stagnation stinks.
Yep.
Stagnant water does not smell good after a while. And you don't want to be someone who stinks. You want to be someone who the water is always flourishing. So I really love that. Tell people where they can connect with you.
Sure.
If they're interested in your program.
Yeah. So if they want to join the 40 Forge program, just at 40forge.com and the number 40. And then if you want to learn more about the Wake Up Jesus People movement, including the book and the journal, you can buy it off Amazon, but it's also at wakeupjesuspeople.com. And then just me, Jason Heinritz, my name at all social medias.
Okay. And I'll have all that in the show notes.
Cool.
So
Great.
I'm going to do something a little different here. I'm actually going to challenge myself.
Okay.
If you're okay with this,
Let's go.
I'm going to join your challenge,
Okay.
your 40 Forge challenge. And if we can kind of just stay in contact,
Yep.
and I'll be talking about it on my channel.
Cool.
And then
Yep.
maybe at the end of the challenge, if I make it, I
Yep.
believe I will, but
Yep.
if I make it, maybe we can do a YouTube live together and talk
Yep.
about it. If you're good with that.
100%. Let's get the word out.
Awesome. I don't know exactly when we're still recording.
Yeah.
I don't know when I'm going to put this out, but I'm probably going to bump you up a little bit closer.
Cool.
I got some things happening in the next couple of weeks, but once that's over, I'll
Yeah.
reach out to you and I'll tell you when I'm going to start the challenge, and
Yeah.
I'll have this podcast out
Mhm.
just before I start it so people will know what's happening.
Well, the next challenge is, September 1st.
September 1st.
So if that
Perfect.
works in the timeline of this
Perfect.
coming out, game time.
Yeah, I'll put this episode out at the end of August. So
Cool. Cool.
awesome.
All right.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mark.
Thank you for coming on. I'm looking forward to the challenge and continuing to connect with you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
God bless you.
You too.